Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today we're going to be talking about the Houston Texans potentially signing Tutu Atwell this offseason. Obviously, the Houston Texans are in a real need of a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3. Now, I'd be really upset if the Texans brought in Tutu Atwell to be the wide receiver 2. I don't think that's something they would do. I think at the wide receiver 2 position, you're looking at more of guys like options like re-signing Stephon Diggs, maybe potentially trading for Cooper Kupp. I think you're looking at a more elite wide receiver at the wide receiver 2 position to pair next to Nico Collins, whether it's bringing back Stephon Diggs or it's replacing Stephon Diggs with someone else. Now, but the other thing is you gotta, since Dell's gonna miss the entire year next year, it's pretty and it's pretty obvious that Tank Dell's gonna miss the entire season next year. So with Dell missing next season, you gotta think you gotta bring in a wide receiver 3 as well. There's got to be 2 wide receiver additions this offseason for the Houston Texans, and if there's a wide receiver 3 addition, I would not mind the Houston Texans bringing in Tutu Atwell. And the reason I talk about Tutu Atwell, and the reason I'm going to make a separate video about Demarcus Robinson, 2 former Los Angeles Rams, or we're not going to call them former wide receiver Rams yet, but they are both, they both played for the Rams last season, played for the Rams last couple seasons, and they're both heading into free agency. So, they could be former Rams. And with the Houston Texans offensive coordinator now being Nick Caley from the Los Angeles Rams, who was the pass game coordinator for the Rams, we know guys like that like to bring in familiar faces. That's why Cooper Kupp has been linked to the Texans, and now that's why we're starting to hear potentially Tutu Atwell or Demarcus Robinson could be a future signing for the Houston Texans at the wide receiver 3 position. I like Demarcus Robinson's addition because he's speedy, he's fast, he could be a deep shot option for Demarcus Robinson. For CJ Stroud, and I think it'd be like adding in Demarcus Robinson would be what CJ had in his rookie season with Noah Brown, I believe. I think this second year CJ Stroud really missed the weapon and the threat he had with Noah Brown, which is something he loved in his first season. That was a connection that was awesome in rookie CJ Stroud. And so if he had Demarcus Robinson, I think it'd be really close to what he had in Noah Brown in his rookie season. But Tutu Atwell would not be he'd be a solid addition for the Houston Texans team to be the wide receiver 3. Look, I've talked about with the wide receiver 3 position, my preferences are potentially drafting Matthew Golden from Texas, a guy who wants to be in Houston, and I am a Longhorns fan, so I support that decision. And I also very well would much like the Houston Texans to potentially sign Darius Slayton from the Giants. Those are my 2 favorite options at the wide receiver 3 position for the Houston Texans this year with no Tank Dell. But the other option I would love for this Houston Texans team at the wide receiver 3 this season are one of Tutu Atwell or Demarcus Robinson. That's my next best option outside of Matthew Golden or Darius Slayton. So Atwell played 17 games last season, and he had 562 receiving yards last year with 42 receptions. He had 39 receptions and 483 receiving yards with 3 receiving touchdowns in 2023. I mean, he has some bad games, but he had some really good games like against the Bears in week 4, he has 82 receiving yards, or you got a game like he had against the 49ers in a win in week 3 where he has 93 receiving yards. So as the season went on, he started to be less active with Puka Nacua and both Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back. But he showed this season when those guys were down, he could play some good football. And so that I think that could make teams more interested in him. And same thing with Demarcus Robinson. I think one of the teams that will definitely be interested in a guy like Atwell or Demarcus Robinson are the Houston Texans, simply just because of the need of wide receiver right now in that position, but also because their offensive coordinator is Nick Caley from the Los Angeles Rams. It's another reason why I think Cooper Kupp to the Houston Texans is a legit possibility. But let me know your thoughts on the Houston Texans potentially signing Tutu Atwell or Demarcus Robinson in the comment section. And peace out. Go Texans.